Just a little disclaimer, these videos are going to be like short fuse where you're going to see a first impressions and then a full review and then a first impressions and then a full review. I didn't do it rapidly like that intentionally. What had happened was I got a bunch of stuff in and I filmed videos and I put them in a folder I put them in the wrong folder. And so when I looked on YouTube at what content was available for you guys, I realized that there's like 4 videos that you guys didn't see. And so it was the first impressions of the Justice, the first impressions of the Convict for Kansept and Kaiser, and then the full reviews. And so they were in a separate folder. So I apologize. You're gonna get like a first impressions and then a first impressions, then a full review, then a full review, and then I'll try and figure out how I'm gonna do my 5 fast. But at any rate, I apologize. It just was something weird that I did. I just couldn't figure out where those videos went. So now let's go ahead and start the video. Well, as you can tell from the title, we are going to talk about the Kansept knives Convict sheepdog design. So this is a fun little knife. I wasn't sure I was gonna like it at first, but it kind of grew on me. I carried it for about a week on and off with some other stuff. Man, the action on this is so nice. So before we get too far into it, you guys know what time it is. Turn down the volume because here comes a little bit of music. This is Brant, Knife Collector 41, used to be Skywarp 41. We got to get this kid up above 1,000 subscribers, so let's go ahead and try and do that. He's got a good channel. I had to pick an older video because he does do shorter videos, so I'm going to put a link to his channel down below. Let's try and get him above 1,000 subscribers so he can grow his channel a little bit. It's hard to do some of the things you do on YouTube without enough subscribers. So anyway, like I was saying, this is the Kansept Convict. Now, I have called this a Kaiser a bunch of times. If I do, you'll hear me edit it out in the video. I apologize. I'm not going to continue to reshoot things. This is like the 4th time I've reshot this because I kept calling it a Kaiser. But this is a sheepdog design. Really, really useful. I don't know if I would buy it, but I definitely, if somebody was going to gift something to me, this would be a good one. It has some things about it I love and some things that I'm not such a fan of. It's not a knock against the knife. It's just things that personally, for me, I would prefer. But if you're looking for a good work knife, this thing is it. I love the action on this. It is buttery, super buttery smooth. So let's go ahead. And before we get too much into it, I talk too much and spit out too much stuff. Let's turn this around and take a look at it from above. I will meet you at the mat. Guys, I want to start this by saying there is any of the things I ever say about a knife maybe not feeling in my hands the way I would like it to. It's 100% my opinion. I guarantee there's a lot of people that love the way this feels. I mention a lot of times Koenig Arius, a knife that I really, really love, but I just could never own or carry because it has an area where it just feels like my hand's being pushed up into it. And it just, on this one, it gives me this weird feeling that it might not be a knife for me. Like I feel like I could get up and over. I know I can't. There's absolutely no chance of that. It just kind of feels like that in my head. So at any rate, there we go. There's my little disclaimer out of the way. This is the Kansept Convict, and sorry about that. I want you guys to take a good look at this. This knife is beautiful. Kansept has made some of the nicest looking knives I've seen in a while. So has Kaiser. As a matter of fact, I have one in my pocket right now. Kaiser and Kansept and some of these other companies are they're stepping up their game, and the aesthetics are great. This is another one of those sheepdog designs, Chris Conway. And that blade, if you are looking for a work blade, that's just about perfect. So let's go ahead, and before we get to drooling all over the way it looks and everything, let's get some specs out of the way. So you're looking at a 3.27 inch sheep's foot blade done in S35 VN. It is stone washed. It's a full flat grind. And so they've got the blade thickness listed at 0.13. Let's go ahead and just get the calipers out and take a quick look at that and see. I zeroed these calipers out on a feeler gauge, so all I should need to do is turn them on. Did they say 0.13? Yeah, 0.135. that's an approximation. You're going to get some variance in that from time to time. 0.132, really, really close to the 0.13 that you'd be expecting. Oh, behind the edge thickness. Let's do the behind the edge thickness on it. I'm sorry, because this did cut really well. I'm just curious. I hadn't checked it yet. Behind the edge thickness, 0.1, I'm 0.018, 0.018, 0.011, or 0.018, 0.019 range. Not super, super thin, but also really, really good for a good functional cutter. This has a 4.23 inch titanium frame lock handle for an overall length of 7.48 inches. Not a huge knife. It seems smaller than it actually is for some reason. It's 0.7, that's almost 8 inches. It's still not a small knife. And it's done on ceramic bearings. The action, that brings me to this, the action on this is nuts. It is so smooth. This is one of the smoothest knives I have seen come in a long time. Coming up to try and sell me Windows. Like I said, the action on this is probably one of the smoothest actions I have felt in a while. And I do have to say that this is going to, when we get to the price point, this is going to be a little more expensive than some of the other knives that I've been doing lately. I'm fine with that. This is not like an overly expensive knife, but let's go ahead and take a look at it before we talk about price. Like I said, the titanium on this is done really well. I believe it wasn't listed. It just says gray titanium. I believe that this is probably a glass bead blast. Let's zoom in on it so you guys can see that finish. It is really a fine blast on this. I thought it was a fine stonewash at first, but it's not. It's just a really fine, I think it's just a really super fine bead blast, probably a glass bead blast. And that goes really well with that fairly polished stonewash blade. Action on this, it is not a flipper. It is a thumb stud operator. It is almost a thumb flipper. It almost wants to fly open. You can slow roll it, but it really does want to fly open. The action on it is really good. No friction in that. Centering is dead center. They did this. It's kind of over the top, but I really like that. Instead of a backspacer, they use standoffs, but they did 4 of them all in a row. For a guy that carries other stuff in his pockets, I can appreciate that. I like some knives that have a full backspacer, because there's a lot of times that knives, especially knives that, let's talk about the Sebenza. Knives that I kept this here just for a reason. I put it when I talk about this. I like a full backspacer on stuff because the Sebenza is really, really close on that. And if you put your keys in your pocket with this knife, sometimes you can get up against the blade. Now, I like the idea of like a half backspacer, things like that. But on top of the fact that it is kind of functional, it protects your edge a little bit, it is attractive. They are well done, nice polished titanium. That thumb disc or thumb plate on this is just about perfect. Now, in hand, like if I was using this knife like this, it kind of feels to me like I would get up and over. I know that there's no way I can't. No matter how hard I would push, using this knife properly, I would not get up and over. But I'm 99% sure, almost 100% sure it's because I'm so used to knives that have, let's pull this out again, like either a flipper tab or like a deeper finger guard type area. But for a knife like this, you wouldn't really need that, because this is where this knife really shines. I cut a bunch of cardboard with this. Jared, I'm gonna have to hone it back up. I don't know if you can see it. You can see there's some spots here where I cut some cardboard. I had this and the one with the blue handles, the Justice. I was rotating between these. We had a bunch of cardboard. The landlord replaced something here at the house, and there was a bunch of cardboard to cut up, and I saved it. I was cutting it with this and the Justice because they were on the plate for review. This cuts like a razor through butter. Nice thin transition, nice good edge on it. That's just still the factory edge. We can zoom in on it. I did hone it a little bit. You can see where I honed it a little bit, but that is still the factory edge on that knife. And it came really sharp. This isn't an edge that Jared laid back or anything. And it just screamed through cardboard, especially like you get a hold of it like this. And then if you're doing some small tasks, that right there is incredible. I love that. So it just cuts really well. So if you hang on a second, what we're gonna do is we'll do some size comparisons and then final thoughts. I will be right back with some stuff for us to compare it to. I grabbed some fun stuff for size comparison because we hadn't seen it in a while. So a knife that is kind of similar in blade shape and style, the QSP Penguin. As you can see, it is a little bit bigger than the Penguin. Like I said, deceptively, it feels smaller than it is. It's almost 8 inches overall. So QSP Penguin, a good bit smaller, not as broad, not tall, Jared, broad, wide, as the QSP Penguin. The Benchmade 940 I use a lot because most people know the size of the 940. It is a little bit, ever so slightly shorter than the 940. But it does have an overall cutting length. I meant to mention this. Really good cutting length on this. It is really close to the entire blade length. Is just a good cutting edge. There's not a lot of wasted space on this blade. Sebenza 21. I always use Sebenza 21 because everybody's really, you know, aware of the size of the 21. So 21, just a little bit bigger. Maybe let's set them up on top of each other. It's really hard to do with a sheep's foot because the blade shape is so much different. But you're looking maybe an inch longer. I'm trying to get it where you guys can see it. It's probably about an inch longer than the Convict here. And then just for fun, we haven't seen one in a while. There is my Microtech Ultratech, and it's a good bit long. It's about an inch and a half longer than that. So let's get these out of the way. This knife is gonna be one that's not as affordable as some of the other knives you've seen recently. Like I know I did the Kaiser Gracioso and some other knives, first impressions on those. I still have to do the full review on that, but those knives are typically a good bit cheaper. They're the sub 100 range. This being a full titanium frame lock and just the action on it being so good, if I could get my finger on there, you're looking at $207.90 on Knife Center. That's where I found it for that price. But like I said, well worth it. Really great knife, and especially when you can. It's not a tactile knife, and it's not the typical knife I've been carrying lately. This is more like a day-to-day work knife. And when you get in on it and you're looking at how you would really use it, like in a pinch grip and things like that, really shines. I do like this. I don't think I would buy it because I have so many other knives that already are similar in that kind of style. Like I have the QSP Penguin. I have some other knives that are in my collection that I've had for years that are really similar to this, but definitely would recommend if you're looking for a good work knife. Right there you go. Like that straight edge on a sheep's foot just really shines. So nice design, Chris. All right, guys, let's turn this around and do some final thoughts. So yeah, guys, I do like this knife. I don't think it would be one I would buy for me personally, but I could definitely see carrying this. I did carry it. I carried it a good bit. It's a nice light, smaller knife. Like I said, the only thing for me, the ergos weren't quite the way I would like it. There's a lot of knives for me that happen like that. The Koenig Arius. Bill, I'm sorry. I love the knife. It's a beautiful knife. It's incredibly well done, but it's like this. It doesn't feel the way I want it to in hand. I feel almost cramped in a couple places, and it's just because I've got big hands, and it kind of makes what typically would be 2 fingers for most people, it's like a finger and a half, and it just feels like I'm being forced down into it. And without a finger guard really on this, that feels, I know it's not, but it feels dangerous to me. So yeah, but overall, great knife. And the fact that it is that thin and slicey, I did a bunch of cardboard cutting with it. It's great. So I would not shy away from telling you should try one out. So guys, that's it on this one. Make sure you guys go follow Brant. He's a good kid. I've had him on, he's been on my after show a couple times up on the screen where we shared the live. He's a really good kid. Let's get him above 1,000 so he can do more stuff on YouTube. So guys, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but tell me why. I can't change content if I don't know what you don't like. If you want to try and support the channel, sometimes it's as simple as liking and sharing the videos with people you think would enjoy them, but you can also support the channel financially. There's a lot of ways you can do it. I have affiliate links down below where if you go shop at anything you purchase, once you use my affiliate link, I get credit for it. Amazon pays me for you guys going shopping, and it doesn't cost you anything. I have a join tab down below. We're above 40 paying members on the channel right now. If we hit 50, I have 2 rare cold steels that I'm going to be giving away. One is going to go to number 50, and the other one is going to be a random one of the other 49. And I keep forgetting to mention that whoever number 50 is also gets a shirt of their choice from the from my Amazon, or not my Amazon, but my Ember Shirt Co. store, and I will basically pay them to have that. So, and then, like I said, there's all kinds of ways you can support the channel. Those are just some of the ways. If you like a specific video, there's also a super like thing. It's like a super chat, but for pre-recorded video. So, guys, that's about all I got. Ember Shirt Co. store down below. Like I mentioned, I have a link down there to the Ember Shirt Co. store and my merchandise store. I have a code down there, CrazySharp, all one word, a capital C and a capital S. That'll save you 10% at checkout. So that's it, guys. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I will see you in the next video.